listen, I don't want any more bullshit.
All right, let's just be real about this. Neither you or I, Frank Reich, Chris Ballard, fucking Carson Wentz, fucking Jim Irsay, Trevor Lawrence, whoever coaches the Jags, I don't even know who they are. None of us expected to be having this conversation. Let's be real about it. I don't give a fuck what they tell you. None of the Jaguars expected to win that game, okay? I mean, the Colts started off this season 0-3. They clawed their way back to 9-6, won 9 of their last 12 games, including wins over Buffalo on the road, convincing win over the Patriots, wins against 49ers on the road, going down to Arizona, beating them on the road with half their team in COVID protocol. I mean, this Colts team is just a better team than the Jags, right? This wasn't supposed to fucking happen. There was no way that it could happen, right? And yet here we fucking are. Yeah, I'll be really straight up honest with you. There was a time 10 years ago when a loss like this I would have been in bed for a week, literally, not doing shit, depressed. Now, it's been over a decade since I was emotionally invested in my team's wins and losses like that because the shit is just too unhealthy for me. But I'm still a diehard fan, but it just doesn't invest in me emotionally where it affects my life. But I know most of y'all are not lucky enough to be that way. So I know this was fucking gut-wrenching in a way that really no Indianapolis Colts loss has ever been. This is without a doubt, the worst regular season loss of all time. Maybe the worst Indianapolis Colts loss of all time. It probably is because of the way it happened. I mean, you had the 41-0 loss in the playoffs, and we've had other shit that happened, right? But all those losses were against good teams in games that we knew going in. There was a good chance we, could lose it, or at least a chance we could lose it. I mean, this one is just a new low. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it, or, minimize it. This is a new low for the Indianapolis Colts franchise. But I do have to tell you, I do have to give a little disclaimer that I really kind of was spared the worst gut punch of this because, as some of you guys know, I've been traveling recently. I was traveling, actually, during this game. And I remember thinking, like, fuck, I'm not going to be able to watch the game. There's no way I'll be able to, get reception, etc. But, strangely, I wasn't all that upset because, I'll be honest with y'all, I had a bad fucking feeling about this game. I really did. I had a bad feeling about the Raiders game last week. And by the way, even though that podcast didn't get posted, I'm going to post it anyway after this one because I want you guys to hear that podcast and see how eerily predictive it really was about this week. But I had a bad feeling about that fucking Raiders game. And after the Raiders game, after they lost it, listening to the post game and especially one thing Carson Wentz said, I had a real bad fucking feeling about this one as well. And unfortunately, my feeling turned out to be true. Fortunately or unfortunately, I wasn't able to see it. But here's the thing. I didn't even watch the fucking thing for a couple of days. And you guys know the reason I don't drop the podcast until a few days after the game is because I want to let the emotions from the game settle, win or lose. And I also want to see what happens in the days after so I can include that shit in the podcast. I saw a lot of this shit on Twitter and people talking about the game. And, I'll be honest with you. The way people made it sound, it was Carson Wentz's fault and he played horribly, et cetera, et cetera. I got to say, I wish it was that simple. I wish it was that simple. But unfortunately, it's way worse than that. Because, see, I didn't watch the game for a couple of days. So when I saw it, and I watched it twice, I was able to watch it with zero emotional investment. Because, hell, I'd already knew the outcome. I'd already gone through the crushing defeat and everything. So I watched it objectively. And I wish I could tell you that it was all Carson Wentz's fault and Carson Wentz held them back and they would have won if not for Carson Wentz. Not because I hate Carson Wentz or want him to be shit or whatever, but because that would be easier. The Colts would be in a much better position for us all if that were the case. Unfortunately, it was not. And actually, the Raiders game is probably Carson Wentz's worst game of the season. Sadly, in this game, he really wasn't nearly as bad as people made him out to be. This game, his fucking teammates let him down. Now, let me just say, that's not to say that I'm trying to sit here and tell you Carson Wentz played great or even good. He was okay. And you watch the tape, he was just okay. Maybe below average. But the truth of the matter is, they could have still easily won this game. Carson Wentz was about 5th on the list of shit that went wrong and led to this loss. This loss was far more bothersome, far more confounding, and far more unsettling and disturbing because this was a loss where not only did all the flaws of the team rear their ugly head, but in this game, I mean, this fucking whole team came out like they weren't ready to play. They couldn't get themselves together. They were discombobulated. They couldn't match the Jaguars' intensity and urgency and energy from the very beginning. They made mistakes, like fucking rookie mistakes, like you would expect to see backups maybe. And you had all the starters in there. This was a real fucking concerning game. And you know what? Thank fucking God it happened. Thank God they lost. Yeah, I said it. I'm glad it fucking happened. It's the best thing that could have happened. And you may think I'm out of my fucking mind right now, but I'm going to tell you exactly why we needed this, even though we don't know it right now, even though it's difficult, bitter, horrible tasting, make you gag medicine. This is what we needed. I'm going to tell you why, exactly why. And I bet you by the time I'm done, you're going to agree with me. But before I do, let me be the host that you love the most and welcome you back, or if it's your first time, welcome you to the NFL's #1 uncensored podcast, the one and only, world famous or world infamous, depending on who you are, often imitated but never duplicated, always controversial, always entertaining, the bullshit-free Colts podcast. The only place on earth where you can hear all things worth talking about when it comes to our beloved Indianapolis Colts. But here, baby, as always, you hear it with no coach speak, no spin, no PR, no political correctness, and most importantly, and most enduringly, 100% no fucking bullshit. I'm your host, Harkana Jala, at your motherfucking service as always. And look, this is going to be a rough one. This podcast is not going to be a full-length podcast, or let me say it this way. I'm not going to cover all of it in this podcast, because if I did, it would go on for 3 hours. Okay, so this is just going to be part 1 of the Colts 2021 season postmortem. And we're going to dig down into what all the ramifications of this fucking monstrosity, of this fucking make you want to throw up abortion of a performance. We're going to go through it all and what it means. But I'm going to tell you why it's the best thing that could have happened. And why actually this is probably what we needed to propel us to that next Lombardi under this regime. All right, so let's dive right into it, but really quick, we're going to get this housekeeping out of the way because you guys are what make this thing go. I promise you guys, I've had so much shit going on over the last few weeks. Not bad, just a lot of shit going on. A lot of you guys know I'm a forensic wealth consultant. I own a wealth consulting firm, so I run a full-time business. This I do for fun because I love it, because I'm a Colts fan, and I saw something that was missing for Colts fans. Just 100% bullshit-free, uncensored Colts discussion. And I was like, I don't see it any fucking place, so I'm going to do it. So that's why I do this. And that's why I apologize that, things have been a little haywire over the last couple of weeks. But that's why I was like, I got to do this for my peeps. Because we need this shit. And I know y'all need this shit. We got to debrief. We got to vent and get it out so we can move forward. So, again, let me get the housekeeping out of the way. If you're still with me at this point, and you've been with me, whether this is your first episode you're listening to, or you've been with me since the beginning over the last 2 seasons, if you're still here right now, you are a motherfucking pimp. So I'm going to ask you to take your pimp-ass fucking finger and smash the like button down below so that the algorithm can spread this podcast far and wide. And every single week, I'm getting more and more people who are getting on board, more and more people who are starting to join us, listen in, comment, become a part of the bullshit free gang, and they're reaching out for me from all over the world, and I appreciate every one of y'all and the listeners of this podcast. This is not my podcast. This is all of our podcasts. The listeners of this podcast, I appreciate y'all for spreading the word. So, smash that like button. Make sure you share this with another cool motherfucker like yourself who will enjoy it. Make sure you subscribe so that you get all of these when I send them out. That way YouTube lets you know, because there's going to be bunches of these coming over the off season. And then finally, if you appreciate what we're doing, there's 3 ways you can donate down below. $20 or $15, $10, $5, even $1 helps. We appreciate it. And for the dopest of the dopest insider day one motherfuckers who want access to all of the content, even the shit that's too hot for YouTube, as you guys demanded it, there is the Bullshit Free Colts podcast Patreon, and that's a VIP group. You can click the button below and join that. Small amount every month, and you get access to some amazing content, especially coming up over the off season. All right, but now that that's out of the way, at least for the final game of this season, which is way too fucking soon, right? Let's get down to the fucking postmortem on this fucking abortion of a performance. Let's go ahead and call it like it is. Let's go ahead and bring it straight, no chaser. Or, as y'all love to hear me say in real talk, I love to say, let's chop it the fuck up. Now, as I said, there's so many threads that we need to talk about that tie into this game. I'm not going to be able to cover them all in this one podcast, okay? It wouldn't even do it justice. It wouldn't even be the best thing, because we need to have discussions on different pieces of this jumbled fucking mess, right? So, but what I am going to do is kind of give an overview of looking at this game unemotionally, what I saw happening on the field and what appeared to be why. And we'll kind of go down at least over the major parts. So first off, let's start off with, what's on everybody's tongue nowadays, not only in Colts Nation and Colts land, but across the country, because, that's how it works. When you have a narrative out there, it's something people talk about because it gets clicks, it gets views, etc. So let's talk about Carson Wentz. All I heard and read was how bad Wentz was in this game. He was horrible. He was terrible. He, needs to be cut after the game. They lost because of him, et cetera, et cetera. Well, again, that was wishful thinking. I get why people felt that way, especially if you're watching it in the emotion of the moment. That feels best. That feels good. Just blame it on Wentz. It's that fucker. It's that piece of shit scam that we traded for, got fleeced for by the Philadelphia Eagles, and dumbass Chris Ballard and Frank Reich gave up a first-round pick and a third-round pick for this washed-up bum, et cetera, et cetera. Now, let's just keep in mind, just 2 weeks ago, this team was 9-6, a lock for the playoffs. They'd won 9 of their last 12, and Wentz had led them, for better or for worse, back from 0-3 to 9-6. Just keep in mind, he's still 27-7 for the season. But again, this ain't going to be no fucking defensive Carson Wentz. Nah. I'm only going to tell it to you how it really was. And here's the truth. Wentz was far down the line of the problems in this game. Now, real talk. As a matter of fact, if the fucking whole team had just played and been coached decently, not great, just decently, they could have still easily won this game in spite of Wentz's misses and even his interception. But the truth of the matter is, the only player who really completely brought it in this game was Jonathan Taylor, which is great to see. Great to see. But it speaks even more volumes because his fucking offensive line, this is the worst game I've seen this group of starters play. But again, I want to jump off of Wentz too quickly. I will tell you this. Wentz definitely missed some throws. He was off on a couple. There were a couple that weren't perfect. But really, the only truly horrific play he made was his fucking interception. And I mean, what the holy actual fuck? See, that interception that he threw there is like the one he threw in overtime against the Titans. That one fucking throw, it's that fucking play that puts Carson Wentz's whole future, not just as an Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback, but as a starting quarterback, period, in doubt. I hope you're listening to this, Carson. I hope you're listening, bro. Because facts, I'm going to be real, man. I love how you play. I love the energy you play with. I love the aggressiveness. I like how you carry yourself. I love your ability to get out and move and, make first downs with your legs and your ability to throw on the run and escape. I mean, your fucking escapability is insane. He pulled 1 or 2 against the Jags. I love that shit, man. I really do. I got no hate for you. But bro, it's throws like that fucking interception, dude. Those throws are going to destroy your career. You're on the way to being Marcus fucking Mariota, bro. If you don't stop doing that shit. Whatever it is. Because, those are fucking indefensible. You can watch that on the All 22. You can watch it and get live in the game. My 14-year-old son can watch that, and he doesn't even really follow football. He can watch that and be like, what the fuck is Carson Wentz doing? Now, he wouldn't say the fuck in front of me anyway. But, I mean, those throws, those are the ones that will destroy you, bro, in your career. Just completely indefensible. But the truth of the matter is, on the other hand, man, Wentz made several big plays that were called back because of fucking holds on the offensive line, fucking false starts, people out of control, and his sack fumble, bullshit. That was 100% the fault of Braden Smith. Braden Smith took the wrong fucking blocking assignment, like somebody that just joined the team off the practice squad, and gave his guy a free run to Carson. Carson didn't even see him until he was on top of him. Carson had no chance there. No chance. The guy bats his hand. Boom, you got a fumble. And that was a killer. That was a killer. Carson made throws, man. He made several big throws. Fucking dudes dropping the... Listen. I am not a motherfucker that wishes for anybody to fail. I don't take any pleasure in labeling people bust, but I gotta call it the way it is. Fucking Paris Campbell, man. I'm sure you're a great dude. I hear you're a great dude. But look, I mean, at this point, just like last year, I was like, Rock Ya-Sin is a fucking bust. This year, he proved me wrong. I love being wrong about shit like that. If Paris Campbell proves me completely wrong next year, there'll be nobody happier. But at this point, Paris Campbell is a fucking unadulterated bust. Because not only is he injury prone, is like freakishly injury prone. Okay? Freakishly injury prone. For a dude so religious. I mean, I said this before. He need to pray different, or, you know what I mean, give more money. He need to do something different, because God is not fucking smiling down on him in terms of injuries. I mean, dude, freakishly injury prone. But not just that. That ain't even the worst part of it. The worst part of it is, objectively, if you look at his tape, the fucking 15 games, he's played, 15 games out of 46 available or some shit like that? The 15 games he's played, he's never fucking done anything. He had one game in Jacksonville last year where he had like 7 catches for 80 yards or some shit like that. The Colts lost. Those catches didn't impact the game. It wasn't even 100 yards, but look, that's the best game he's ever had. Most of the time, when he does play, you forget he's playing. We're so used to him being injured, you forget, oh yeah, that's right, Paris is playing. He doesn't fucking make plays, though. He had the opportunity to make 2 catches yesterday that could have changed that game around into a win. Both times he used his speed, got behind the defense. Wentz found him. The first one was an incredible throw by Wentz to even get it there, because he was on the run off platform. He put it in the only place it could be between 3 other defenders, right into the fucking hands of Paris Campbell, who promptly didn't come up with it. Hit him in the hands. He didn't catch it. People say, well, he was running, he was diving. Okay, whatever. It hit him in the hand. He's a fucking NFL starting wide receiver. That's a catch that's got to be made. But the second one was the most egregious, the one that needed even worse. And Wentz again found him deep, threw a perfect bomb, dropped it right into Campbell's hands in stride, and Campbell just fucking dropped it. Doesn't come up with it. Pitt had a drop too. MPJ, one of my favorite players. Now, people say, oh, well, that was a little behind him and it was high. Yeah, it was. It was a little high. It was a little behind him, but this is the fucking NFL, folks. The balls can't be fucking perfect. And Carson was on the fucking run again, because, I mean, y'all watched the game the same as I did. I don't know if you watched it as closely because you probably were in your emotions, but Carson was under fucking siege the whole day. 6 sacks? People tell, oh, the sacks are on the quarterback. Get the fuck out of here. Not these sacks. Go watch. Colts offensive line was getting embarrassed. I mean, taken to the fucking woodshed and beat like they stole something. It was fucking humiliating how the Jags did the offensive line. So, I mean, when that's happening, the throws ain't all going to be perfect. But I ain't singling out, MPJ. I'm not singling out anybody, really, because everybody was trash. Everybody, made... Because, again, MPJ made some good catches. Like, people made plays here and there, but for the most part, everybody had their moment where they like fucking dropped the ball, where they didn't make the play. The O-line was fucking terrible. I mean, they got manhandled like straight up bitches. Let's call it what it was. It was stunning. But it shouldn't be surprising, because remember, the Jags defense gave us problems in that first game. They're for real. Their defensive line is for real. I mean, it was just fucking embarrassing. And the defense, oh my God. Trevor Lawrence routinely had 5 to 6 seconds to throw. Routinely. And the few times the Colts actually got pressure, they let him break contain with bad, undisciplined angles and not. I mean, it was mind-numbing. Like, how the fuck are y'all just forgot how to play over the last 2 weeks? Jesus fucking Christ. And of course, the defensive scheme reverted back to just being mainly vanilla. Fucking Eberflus. Not even trying to confuse the rookie QB like in the first game. I mean, I have no idea what was going on. Kenny Moore, I guess Kenny feels he's arrived, and he's just still kind of basking in the afterglow of a much-deserved Pro Bowl berth, I might add. Much-deserved, Kenny. But, dude, these last 2 games, bro, you've been looking like you a bubble player from the preseason, bro. What the fuck? You been getting burned, out of position? These are the 2 games we needed it most. Darius Leonard really didn't show up, but I mean, here's the one thing I will say about Darius. It's not for lack of effort. Darius, I'll be happy to see him just get healthy. He's clearly been limping and really slow all year, and it really makes him slow and kind of plotty in coverage in particular. But again, I mean, nothing from Leonard this game. Kari Willis took an unforgivable bad angle. So he should have easily sacked Trevor Lawrence on the TD that basically put the game away. On the TD that basically put the game away. After Carson Wentz's interception, that happens down on the other end of the field. The defense lets the Jags rip off like a 20, 30-yard just run up the middle. And then they go right down the field. And then they have them like 3rd and 10 or some shit like that or whatever. And Trevor Lawrence goes back. Kari Willis comes unblocked. Now, the Jaguars make the same kind of mistake that Braden Smith made, but we don't make the play. Kari Willis takes, for some reason, he takes the wrong angle, and instead of just swallowing up Trevor Lawrence for a sack that would have dropped them back into field goal range, he takes the wrong angle. Trevor Lawrence, like, sidesteps him, rolls out, and then he throws the pass that ends up being a touchdown, which, again, was, I believe, on Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore let the guy get behind him. It's just fucking bad, man. This was a really, really bad game all the way through. But that was the players. I mean, everybody looked bad playing except for Jonathan Taylor, honestly. Man, the coaching, man, you know, things were looking good, but we come back to the same problems. Flus, he's just not creative enough. I get it. He has a certain scheme he wants to play. He doesn't have the pass rush to play it. Okay? I'm not even going to go in on the lack of the pass rush because we've talked about it so many times this year, but over the last 2 weeks, it has shown itself to be the fatal flaw that we all knew that it was. But if you don't have it, Flus, you can't play this fucking simple, soft-ass cover 2 scheme that, frankly, I believe has just been passed by in the modern NFL. This fucking pass-happy NFL where all the rules are set up so that quarterbacks can and will throw the ball around the field and move up and down the field and score. Remember, they set the rules up to increase scoring. Any decent QB is going to rip your fucking soft ass shell coverage a new asshole. Unless you can disrupt them with pass rush. And in this scheme, you got to have some beast pass rushers in that front four. They don't have it yet. So it has no chance without a monster edge rush. Listen, Kwity Paye's a keeper. He's going to blossom into a beast. I've been watching him all season. He only had 4.5 sacks, but he should have had 8, maybe 9 sacks. He's just, some really bad luck missing sacks. He had one or two yesterday that should have been sacks. And, just an instant, one of them got called back or whatever. But anyway, they got to get that other side. They got to pay a proven vet. That's the truth of it, right? There's no more time to wait on the draft. There's no more time. Reich drives me crazy, and here's why. This game was another example of why I don't doubt Frank Reich's play calling acumen and skill. Like some people, he's a terrible play caller. I disagree completely. I think he's a genius play designer, and I believe he can be an outstanding play caller if that's all he has to do. I mean, look, there's a fucking reason that, that's a separate job. It takes all your focus to be fucking great. And we don't need good. We got to have great. We got to have elite. Because you're going up against defensive coordinators who are not trying to fucking run a team at the same time. I still say, this is an example why I still say Frank needs to either give up the play calling so he can focus on being the head coach and let Marcus Brady or whoever's going to be focus solely on the play calling, or become the fucking O coordinator if you want to call the play so badly. Because see, he can script the first 15 with the best of them, but he's just not very good at adjusting the play calling and the play calling game plan and the play calling concepts on the fly. And the dude is smart as a fucking whip. He has experience. He's played in the league. So the only thing that makes sense is that it's because he has too much on his plate. You're trying to, you need to be completely focused on the play calling, but instead you are the head coach. So they're looking at the big picture and trying to call the plays. I mean, if you know you're becoming too run-centric, adjust the fucking play calling and the game plan. You're the one calling the fucking plays and making up the game plan, for Christ's sake. But why wouldn't you just do that? How the fuck are you not going to a hurry-up yesterday when you get down 13-3, 16-3? How are you not going to a hurry-up, which we've seen all year fucking Carson Wentz and the offense plays best in? That's when they get shit going. When they go to that fucking hurry-up. Why are you not doing it? Why are you not rolling it out? What happened to all these greatly designed plays? It's like when shit isn't going well and it gets caught in the heat of the moment, it's like all the plays. I'm not trying to be facetious here. Obviously, it's not what's really happening, but go look, y'all. When shit gets tough and they're like, oh, we got to get it done, we got to score. Their fucking plays be looking like playground shit. Like, hey, everybody go to everybody run, out wide. Everybody run for the. You see what I'm saying? Everybody go to the end zone. I'm gonna find one of y'all. That's shit we used to do when I was a kid. Where are the fucking slants? Where are these? I mean, come on. This is simple shit. And I know Frank knows it, but it's just, you can only process so much. This fucking whole team, man, looked like it got shocked and surprised by Jacksonville. Like, again, for the second straight week. Like, they just figured they could just show up and they would get win. And this time, instead of last week, they got stunned and, barely lost. This week, they got their fucking asses beat. And you know what? as I promised you I would, let me tell you why all this is great. Thank God it happened. Thank God they lost. Because, see, if they had won that game like they should have, they'd have gone on into the playoffs, and who knows, they might have fucked around and won the first playoff game. Right? And you know what would have happened? We would have all gotten a false sense of security. We'd have all fallen into thinking that the team was better than it really is, that it was further along than it really is, that its flaws aren't as bad as they really are. It's human nature. And I certainly believe that would have percolated throughout the front office, Irsay, Frank Reich, the coaching staff, etc. Imagine, you go 10-7 after starting 0-3, you get in the playoffs. You go to the playoffs, maybe you beat Cincinnati or some other team, whoever it is. You win one game, it's like, we're on track. And then what's going to happen next season, you're going to fucking be trying to play status quo bullshit. And what happened this season would happen next season, maybe even worse. You take a step back. This is the best thing that could have happened. This is great. Because it makes it 1,000,000% clear to Jim Irsay on down that there must be serious upgrades all over this team. All over this team. People love to follow the easy narrative and say, it's Wentz. Wentz is holding him back. If only they had a QB. If they just had Andrew Luck back, this team would be, going to the Super Bowl and winning it. Wrong. Let me tell y'all something. I get it. That's the easy narrative to fall back on because of the, Carson Wentz is broken and he's trash and da-da-da. And because that's just what we do, right? We just blame the QB. An elite QB alone won't get you shit in the NFL. And before you start arguing, as Exhibit A, I give you Aaron fucking Rodgers. Look, Aaron Rodgers been the best pure quarterback in the game probably the last decade. Maybe Patrick Mahomes passed him up as the best pure quarterback over the last few years. But for the most part, Aaron Rodgers been the guy for 10 years. He has one ring to show for it. One. He's been playing 10, 15 years. Justin Herbert, the golden boy, y'all tell me is the next coming of Brady or whoever else you want to name. No playoffs again this year. Even though he balled out. He balled out better this year than he did last year. No playoffs again. Lamar Jackson, no playoffs. Those teams got the quarterbacks, right? Am I right? Hell, fucking Manning and Luck, they played 20 years combined for the Colts. They have one Super Bowl ring between them. In 20 years. So listen, Chris Ballard's right when he says it ain't just about one guy. It ain't just the quarterback that's going to save you. That won't work. You just think, if we could just get Russell Wilson in here, who I love, or if we could just get Aaron Rodgers, it would fix everything. No, it wouldn't. Manning was here all those years, didn't fix everything. One Super Bowl win. Irsay was mad. I remember people saying, trade Manning and get us a defense. I remember people saying, man, Andrew Luck, trade Luck and get a defense. Look, you got to have the whole team. You got to have the whole team. And most importantly, most specifically, it takes a whole team with impact game changers in at least 2 or 3 of the key positions. Quarterback, edge rusher, left tackle, wide receiver, shutdown cornerback. The Colts have no impact game changers in any of those key positions. You feel me? Not yet. Maybe Kwity Paye becomes one. I would love to see it. He might. But at this point, nope. Our impact game changers are at off ball linebacker, right? Offensive guard, center. Nah, it ain't gonna work. The Colts don't have an impact game changer at any of those key positions. And that's got to change. They have a very talented, well-built roster, no doubt. But to get another Lombardi, that's got to change. And as much as people don't want to hear it, Wentz isn't a game changer, but he's good enough to win with. Yeah, even with his flaws. And in the hardest of all positions to find, let's just keep it real. You ain't going to get much better. As much as people are trying to tell you he's horrible, he's trash, he's the number 13 quarterback in the league this year, my friends. There ain't but 3 or 4 or 5 elite ones. And they don't even all win the Super Bowl. You with me? So I'm not saying if something better is available, don't move on from Carson Wentz. I'm saying to you, the whole fucking reason they traded for him in the first place, and the reason that a 1 and a 3 was reasonable compensation for him is, as much as the truth is, they just don't fucking grow on trees. I mean, the Philly fans can troll and talk shit if they want to, but I mean, you're the ones that gave the motherfucker $120 million extension, and then you drafted a fucking lifetime journeyman quarterback, wasted a second round pick on him a year later. But look, they got their own problems. They still need a quarterback. You with me? Then you got to fill everything in. So, Wentz is good enough to win. Is he good enough to win a Super Bowl? Yeah, if he fixes the really fatal flaws in his game. Can he do that? That remains to be seen. But if he will just be efficient, he's good enough to win with, but you got to get him a reliable left tackle. You got to get him a dynamic tight end, a game-breaking wide receiver, and a game-wrecking edge rusher. We already have the best running back in the league. That's a huge bonus. But listen, people can say whatever they want. In order to truly evaluate what you have in Wentz, you got to actually have the weapons and the needed right accoutrements to go with him. Like, people can talk that shit all they want to, but if you got a Ferrari and no oil in it and bald fucking tires on it, it ain't gonna drive like a Ferrari, homie. You with me? Even if it's a Ferrari. So, if you just got a Mustang with bad oil and bald tires and fucked up suspension and shit like that, yeah, you ain't going no place, homie. So yeah, changes got to be made. And like I said, we're going to get into the whole postmortem on what needs to happen, what should happen, what probably will happen, etc. But I mean, certain things, like we already know, Fisher, see, you wouldn't want to be it. I mean, the jury's in. He just ain't good enough. Bye. Like, maybe, he didn't really come back completely. I don't know. But I know you ain't got time to fucking find out. Now, can you find somebody better? Probably Matt Pryor's already better. But Fisher ain't it. Paris Campbell, we talked about. The jury's in. The jury's in. Wentz, here's what I would say there. Here's my take on it, for real, with Carson Wentz. Again, Carson, I hope you're listening to this, bro. I'm telling you this out of love, man. Because you don't seem to be getting it, dude. This is your last stop. If you don't fucking make it here, you're on your way to backup QB land, bro, for the rest of your career. So here's my thing with Wentz. Like, if he's not seeing a sports psychologist to get his fucking head together and working with a QB guru over the summer to fix his mechanics, that'll tell me all I need to know. Because here's what bothered me. Here's what bothered me about Wentz after the Raiders game. And I noticed this. Like, he never just said, like, after that game, he should have said, look, I played like ass. I was terrible. This loss was on me. I let the team down. I cost the team this game. And I'm going to get it fixed. I apologize to my teammates. I feel like I let them down. That's what we needed to hear from him. That's what he should have been saying. Instead, he's like, oh, well, I mean, we got to do this. And, there's a few I'd like to have back, sure, but I'm always confident, blah, blah, blah. Here's what it bothers me about it. It seems like a lack of self-awareness. A lack of self-awareness. A kind of arrogance, maybe not even arrogance, but a kind of cockiness, arrogance that will stop him from being able to actually see that he needs to get better, that he needs to improve certain things. And it makes me feel like deep down, he just thinks he's better than he is. He doesn't really believe he needs to change anything drastically or improve anything drastically. And if so, then he's a lost cause. I hope not, but if it is what it is. So like I said, let's hope not. Let's hope Carson can have a breakthrough and become self-aware enough to see that, look, this motherfucker could be elite. He could be. He could be a top 10 QB if he would just be willing to be humble enough to take a truly objective, critical, constructively critical look at his film, at his game, and say, these are my problems. I got to go fix this. If he doesn't, like I say, he's done. There's no chance for him. And if the Colts don't take a hard, objective look, get outside of your ego, get outside of the philosophy that you're married to, and I'll talk more about that in the next podcast, exactly why Belichick is so much better than other coaches, cheating aside, okay? Because he doesn't get married to any philosophy, he doesn't get rigid about any specific way. This is how I play it. This is how I construct my defense, and any of that bullshit. Colts are going to have to do the same thing. Get outside your ego, get outside the philosophy that you feel married to, how you want to play and all that, and do what needs to be done to make this team the best possible team it can be. This year is over. There's no chance to do it this year. But let's get into this fucking offseason. Let's go all in, because slow build era is over. And I promise you, that's part of what that meeting that Irsay called with Reich and Ballard Sunday night after they got back from Jacksonville. He couldn't even wait till the next day. I guarantee you that's part of what that meeting was about. Like, yo, no more slow build, like it's on. We need to go for it right now. All right? Let's get this fucking thing put together. Let's use every resource we can, every resource at our disposal, from draft to free agency to trades, whatever, to make this team the best possible roster it can be for next season, so we can go out and win another fucking Lombardi, baby. Peace.